it was a 90-second transaction. I told him everything. I told him the speedo wasn't working. I told him the AC compressor. I told him everything I went through. And he's like, dude, you're so honest. Like, I'm not worried at all. This is great. I love it. I love your vibe. He proceeded to tell me, I'm in finance. I'm a broker. He opened up and showed me his brokerage account balance. And he's like, so just so you know, I'm good for it. I'm like, yes, you are, sir.
Hey guys, welcome to Overcrest. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jake.
Guess what, Jake?
Tell me.
Half an hour ago, the E23 has left the building.
No.
It has left the building.
Is it gone? It's gone.
It's gone.
We
went
both
to,
are less a car after this weekend.
One car less? Yeah, you too. We'll get there.
Yeah.
In the whole Airwater story, which I want to hear from you because I really wasn't there for the event.
You came
itself.
a little later. Yeah,
I did. I came out for the foundation, which we should probably talk about that for a second too later.
We can talk about the whole weekend. There was a lot going on.
E23 is gone. I could not be happier to be able to spend that money on another car I don't need. It's going to be great.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's the way to do it. That is 100% the way to do it.
What
That's
do you
probably
think?
what I'll end up doing too.
What do you? Gosh, it's so great. It's almost like breaking up with a girlfriend, being like, I'm going to be so happy when I'm single, and then like you're already, trying to date somebody in the next week.
Yep,
week after
on the market.
So tell me about. So I got to experience Overcrest Rally FOMO for the first time.
How was that?
Truly awful.
A lot of texting. There was a lot of like, send me pictures.
Oh,
how
bullshit.
is it? What's
I'm
going
gonna get
on?
my phone. No, there was not.
What is
there
happening?
Absolutely wasn't.
Okay, you know what you did? Strategically, I think you messaged each one of us several times, so then it didn't look like you were inundating all of us.
No. Okay, so here's my text with Jake. This was everything. It was there's literally nothing. I texted you 0 times about the rally.
0 times.
It was this. This was the only time I texted you right here. Send me pictures of your 944 is what I texted you.
I don't believe you.
And then I texted you, we should go drive out here when I was on the plane. Look at this. This is really nice. We should go drive there.
Yeah.
Next thing, coffee soon on the way to the FCP thing. So Jacob, how many times did I text you?
I've already been here for an hour.
How many times did I text you?
Really?
That would add up to 0 times. That would add up to 0 times. And then I texted.
I feel like it was in the main chat, which is just gone forever.
No, I'm looking at it right now. This is literally. I was not bothering you guys.
No, it was
I did not bother you.
I swear there was like, take selfies, like send me photos. How is it?
I did post once. I'm like, send me some selfies.
Yeah, I did see that. Okay, that was it.
Like,
it was
nonstop,
about? Chris, nonstop inundated.
It was not nonstop.
FOMO.
I made an intentional thing to not bother you. I did text
concerted effort
not to bother you guys. I did text Steph a couple of times, just being like, "Hey, is everything okay? Do you need anything?"
Yeah, and I think I saw those. She's like, "Oh, Chris is really missing out," and I was like, "Yep." That's
yep. So I did not text all of you multiple times. I was not annoying. Please do not make me seem like a needy Nancy. It did not happen.
Nancy.
Anyway, I did have FOMO. I'm like, man, there was a couple of days before when I was kind of looking at the calendar going, I bet I can make it out there in 28 hours.
Oh no, you were going to drive?
Seriously, I was about to get in the car and drive out there.
Why?
Just because I love it so much.
You would have been so wasted.
Yes. That's true.
The whole point of you not coming, which was like to deal with stuff there, and that we don't all need to be there.
And I couldn't. It just wasn't feasibly possible,
Right.
But I looked.
So
I was like, oh man, I could maybe. How do I get? I had major FOMO. It was a bummer to be here and not be at the event, and it looked like it was a good time. Tell me, like, how did it go? What was the?
Yeah. So I guess I'll go chronologically, and you tell me it's boring or not. But so we flew into Palm Springs. And we had our cars shipped to Palm Springs Porsche. And I think it was the day before I got a call from the gal that we're coordinating with at the dealer. And she's like, yep, car's here. I, drove it into the parking lot and parked it myself. And then that evening, I get a message like, car won't start. And also your door doesn't lock. So we had to push it into the service bay so that your stuff wouldn't get stolen. And I was like, oh my God, no. Now what? I thought I had this thing at least like mechanically reliable.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I heard nothing. She's like, yeah, well, we're a certified classic center. So I'll have my certified tech, my classic tech look at it. I was like, oh man. So I didn't hear anything again for like 24 hours.
What was that labor rate?
So yeah, just that's exactly where my mind went. And so I get a video then at like 9 p.m. the night before we leave. And it was like, you've taken cars to the dealership and they give you the video walkthrough of like what they're doing? No, have you ever done that?
No,
you don't have any newer cars, right? So you go to the Porsche dealership, you drop it off for servers or something, and every time the tech has their phone and they give you a video walkthrough, they're like, "Hi, I'm your tech. My name is Christian here at Porsche Palm Springs. We have your car up on the hoist, giving you a little walkthrough. We have your brakes here. You have this many millimeters of brake lefts. Your tires look good. I see a little bit of dripping from your AC compressor." They do a full walk around, full inspection of the entire car, which
that's nice.
It was very nice. It's very nice. So I did not expect that. I expect him to just be like, "It's
broken, bro."
Right. So he had it up on the hoist, inspected everything for me, and I thought it was going to be something stupid. Like there's a starter relay, they call it the DME relay. It's for the computer. It runs the fuel pump, it runs everything. So it'll crank and it won't start if that like got loose or corroded. I was like, oh, maybe water got in there and got corroded.
How would water? Did you replace that relay?
Yeah, I did. It's brand new.
How would water get in there?
I don't know, Chris. I'm trying to think of what the stupid thing was that would have happened. He goes, okay. And in the video walk around, he goes, diagnosing, I replaced the DME relay, checked that. That wasn't it. So you don't need that. I also unplugged all your fuel injectors and put testers and nodes on those, and those weren't firing. So then I went back and I looked, and your sensors are good for your crank position. And then I realized that actually in your harness, it was like wiggled and frayed. So he had to replace part of the harness. He goes, but luckily we're doing a full restoration on a 86 3-liter or something. And so I had some of this old harness material that I spliced in for you, and it's all good. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that would have taken me forever to diagnose, first of all, right? Like what? Like literally frayed wiring in the harness? That's the last thing you look at.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
yeah,
oh
true.
My gosh. So then I call our contact there, the service writer. I'm like, first of all, thank you so much. Second of all, are you going to send me like an invoice? Like, I don't even want to ask how much this is going to cost. She goes, oh, don't worry about it. We're taking care of you.
What?
You shout out Palm Springs Porsche. So cool. So
they've been really good to us for a few years now. They are really
so I was
awesome.
Like, all right, what size t-shirt are you in your tech? And so I brought them some swag, and they were just super pumped. And then they like found me a couple interested parties because I mentioned like, I'm not bringing the car back, which I'll just state, I think I mentioned this before, perhaps last week, but so I shipped the car out there. I did not have any provision, no plan B, no backup, no way of getting the car home. And I also didn't have a contingency plan of like, okay, now what? I fly home. Where does it go?
I did see that you used every available opportunity to yourself to sell the car, including using official company resources to build yourself a website.
Wasn't that nice? That was so nice.
You never offered to do that for me.
No, I didn't. I was going to host it on I have a personal web server, and I was like, I don't know my login. I don't know any of this. I'm like, I'm just putting it up there. I don't care. Sorry, guys.
No, so fine. I just thought it was funny.
Overcrestproductions.com/944 got you the entire listing.
Mr. Producer, pull it up. I bet it's still there.
Yeah.
Overcrestproductions.com/944.
Yep.
Why is it /951?
Because people aren't usually. I thought about it actually, and I was like, that's too nerdy. That's such an internal model code nerdiness. So
there it is.
Yeah, check that out, dude. That is formatted so nicely.
My thought is that you owe Overcrest 7% of the sale of this vehicle. Now that
7%?
That's a brokerage fee. That's a typical brokerage fee.
Broker it.
Overcrest clearly did. Look at this. Look at this list of all these things that you did. Wow,
dude. I put a lot of work into this thing.
You put a lot of work in this thing, and then almost never drove it.
That's not true. I drove it quite a bit for the last 6 months.
You had to because your Macan was broken and you don't have enough, or was broken, and you crashed your Cayenne. Right. So you didn't have anything else to drive. So then you drove this. Right. Not because you wanted to.
No, correct. Not arguing there. So
what are you going to do now?
What do you mean?
It's gone. What are you driving?
Yeah, great.
Are you driving around your plow truck? Is that what you're driving?
I drove that today to the bank. It was terrible.
Oh God, that thing is so bad for morale. Like that is a bad for morale vehicle.
I know. I do have the 911.
You shut the door and it's like,
I can drive.
I
do still have the 911, turns out.
Like everything rattles for way longer than
so
it's
bad.
supposed to.
And the tires now are out of round. So like at speed, it's just...
Well, what are you going to do?
That's the plow truck. I'm not in a rush right now because I have the 911 I can drive.
Scirocco for a couple weeks? Drives great.
No,
awesome.
We're shipping that out to get some
Not
stuff
till the
done.
17th.
Why do I want to drive that?
Because it's
911
awesome and it's fun and it just starts.
No.
Oh, you'll drive the 911?
You just want to get rid of that out of your driveway and have me deal with the shipping.
It's got
That's what's happening here.
It's got a place for Rhett.
Yeah, no.
911 doesn't have a place for your bride and your kid.
That's right.
Should be the Scirocco.
That's fine. If they're around, we can drive the Macan. That's the point of that one.
True.
Okay, so Palm Springs, whatever. That was amazing. That was super great. We get out there. From there, we went straight to our meetup out at
How was
Roy's
the Coachella
okay, so
Stagecoach situation?
So Stagecoach is a music festival that has been explained to me as Coachella for country. And last year when we went out there,
was country too. Like there was everybody's shifting over to country music for some reason.
Yeah, I guess it's in vogue.
I guess.
Bunch
of posers.
So last year when we went out, I couldn't figure it out because we didn't know that was going on. And we saw all these like 20-something girls with a stack of 6 cowboy hats on their head. Yeah. And I'm like, what is happening? Why is this a weird thing that's going on? And I realized if you're out there and you're a festival girl, it's like a faux pas to wear the same cowboy hat every day. You can't do that. You can't wear the same outfit every day. So you have to have a different cowboy hat to match. I don't know. It was for a handful of these girls. And so you can't pack your nice cowboy hat because that'll crush it. So you just wear on the plane like 6 cowboy hats on your head. And there were several instances of seeing this when we went last year. This year, lots of cowboy hats, but singular.
Ridiculous.
Singular. So
the dumbest thing
I didn't
I've
see
ever heard.
that. Oh, big time. So I was like, it was hilarious.
It's like wearing a bunch of pogs on your head.
Pogs?
Pogs. You never played pogs?
Yeah, why is that like playing?
Because they're all the little
because
chips
you stack them up.
You stack them up before you flip them over.
It's a weird, really, really obscure analogy.
Everybody your age or older knows what a pog is and knows that you stack them as high as you can, and then you hit them on the head with a slammer, just like you want to do with all these girls.
So that's what I was going to say. So what you're saying is you wanted to hit them all on the head with a hammer.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, got it.
That's exactly
sure. Fine. So, but no, we got out to Amboy, which is our meetup the night before the road to Airwater.
No sandstorm this time?
No, I thought about that as we were going through. I was like, yeah, it was supposed to be cooler out there this weekend. We got in, it was like 90. And I was like, oh, I only packed 1 pair of shorts.
Does the AC work in that thing?
It did for a while. In my listing, you can see that I replaced, the AC dryer and a few of the lines and made sure everything was good. All the sensors, it was charged. I did it the right way where I vacuumed it out and then put it in. And so it was great. And it was working for a while. And then when we finally got to the location, I was like, it's just like,
yeah,
that's what was coming out of the dash.
Somewhere.
And so I look, and under the compressor, it's just green dye, like dripping from it. And I was like, I didn't replace the compressor. So
so the seals in the compressor.
Whatever. Yeah, so that's whatever.
Buyer beware, new buyer, I guess.
I told him that. I was as transparent as possible. And we'll get to that whole selling scenario because that's a very fun, weird, crazy story in itself. But I'll just talk a little bit about the event. We went out to Amboy. It was awesome. The signage is so cool out there with the old neon, and they let us flip the lights on and off, and it was a big deal. We're like,
did
everyone,
they do the creepy thing
around.
Were they like, it's haunted or it's creepy? Don't turn the lights on.
I wasn't
I'm not
involved in that because I was working on like registering people and getting stuff, all their swag and equipment and stuff. So equipment. A hat is an equipment, Chris. So I wasn't involved in that.
Depends on your job, Jake.
That's true. A hard hat, I guess, is a piece of equipment.
Yeah, a cowboy hat's a piece of equipment.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, and a helmet for like if you're a soldier is equipment.
Yes, you're right. That's equipment.
Yeah. Or a captain's hat is equipment.
Should we call all of our drivers like our hats now? They're your equipment
Sports car vacation land equipment package.
General issue equipment package. So it was great. They had the food this entire weekend was amazing. They had fresh grilled carne asada taco lineup, like a taco bar out there for everyone that was, included for everyone. They loved that was awesome.
Food
That
on
was super
us.
cool.
Food on us.
That was really cool. It was just a cool vibe. They had all of the tables out. There was like seating for everyone. I was really impressed
how was the sunset?
It was absolutely gorgeous, as it is.
Some of the best sunsets I've ever seen.
You know, hardly a cloud in the sky. Hardly a sky in the cloud. Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be
cloudy that'd be weird too. So yeah, that was super nice. Then we buzzed out of there, and the next morning, of course, here's where things became interesting and adventurous, we'll say, Chris.
Yeah. Well, there's always something. Nothing ever goes as planned.
No, it can't. You can't
what is
plan
the saying
for every
about it? There's nothing.
God laughs at your well-laid plans.
Yeah, there it is.
I've heard that one.
Yeah.
On the way out there,
no battle plan survives.
All battle plans, are thrown out the first
gunshot or something,
or the first, confrontation. Or, anyways, on our way out there,
no plan survives the first contact with the enemy. Let's go.
That's it. On our way out there from Palm Springs Porsche to Amboy, we of course just took like direct route. So we were on the freeway for a little bit, and it was like a big, massive desert freeway, probably like 4 lanes wide coming out of Palm Springs. And they had like it down to 1 lane, and we're like, what is going on? And it was like a traffic backup, and I was like, oh no. And then I saw a bunch of lights out in the distance as we're just like sitting there, and I'm realizing my AC is not working. This is from Palm Springs Porsche going out to Amboy.
Okay.
So before I'm setting the stage because of what happens next. And we're like stuck in traffic. This is lame, but whatever. And I see all these lights in the distance, like, oh my goodness, this is either a massive pileup or like I thought a truck exploded or something, because I see something big and I see all the lights. And we're going, and it is the biggest equipment moving operation I've ever seen.
This is in the morning on Friday?
This was before Amboy. So no, Thursday afternoon. Before we got to the meetup, the biggest equipment moving operation I've ever seen. So it was a semi-truck with 2 trailers that it was pulling like this, 2 flatbeds next to each other with a massive.
I thought this was Friday morning on the way to the meetup.
Yes, but again, setting the stage. This massive piece of equipment. I didn't know what it was, and then
did you take a picture of it?
Somewhere, yes. I should probably send that to us. We'll put it up in a bit. And behind it, there was pusher trucks. I've never seen something like a vehicle, aside from trains, that has not only puller trucks, but pusher trucks.
Why would you need that? Just because
it weighed something like 500 tons.
Holy smokes.
This thing. The guy... So later, we encountered this thing.
So the yoke on the semi can't even possibly handle the load. It was
just so crazy. And so then of course they had like 5 police escorts in front and behind and all over.
It had load that out?
Over 180 wheels, I think, or 200 some wheels.
Jesus.
And
Send that picture to Mr. Producer right now. I need to see this.
Okay, I know this for a fact because so we're like, oh, weird. I wonder what the heck that is. That's crazy. And then we didn't necessarily.
And you continued on to Amboy, which is Amboy's pretty rad. It's been there for a really long time. If you look at the hotels and everything that they have there at the main office, it's definitely like a mid-century Route 66 type of place.
Yes, it is such a cool vibe. I love that place. Everyone loved it. Super like photogenic. You're on Route 66. Okay, so we saw that coming in and we're like, oh, that's kind of weird, whatever. And we realized the hotel we're staying at, which is like in 29 Palms area outside of Amboy, before we even meet up and register, was after registration. We came back to 29 Palms with everyone we registered with was all in the same hotel, which is kind of cool. We didn't do this last year. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily by design, but there was a lot of people there all hanging out, and we're having a couple beers in the parking lot. And I was like, I don't feel like going all the way down to my room to pee. I think it was Chase who was with us, our videographer. And so he walks around the back and he's peeing and he looks up and he's like, oh, I'm peeing on the trailer of this thing. It was at our hotel, behind the hotel.
Way to out the guy. This is the deal right here. Look at all those tires. Wow.
And we zoom in, Henry. Let's get the details on that. And so we're like, yeah, it's right there. That's funny. Didn't think anything of it until we are bombing down to our start point,
Barnhart,
which is like 30, 40 miles away. and we're early. We're the first ones out there to make sure we meet everyone. And this thing is on the highway in front of us doing 25 miles an hour. Both lanes are closed. They shut down the highway way ahead of us to make sure no cars came towards it. And we're literally sitting here. We have 20 miles to go and it's going 20 miles an hour. We're like, what can we do? We can't get by them. There are police escorts right here. Like, I've been kind of veered over and they're like, no, you're not doing that, right? Like, you can't go by us. It's a 2-lane road. And they were like, all of it. So we pulled over at a stop and we're like, well, guess what? We're the first ones out. Everyone's going to be in the same ordeal. We'll just wait, 20 minutes, whatever it's going to be for it to get ahead of us. And so all of a sudden we see all the line of lights coming as and we're like waving, like, okay, guys, they don't get that we're pulling over here. It doesn't matter. They're going to be stuck behind the truck and they'll pull over too. Well, apparently
this company, this Barnhart company, makes massive cranes, for moving just the heaviest shit ever and putting them on ships and just just the most massive crane and rigging.
Long story, a little bit less long. So us, the organizers, are pulled over because we're like, we're not going to sit and just idle behind this thing in first gear. Yeah. And so everyone goes ahead and we're like, well, we don't have to worry because they're going to be stuck behind it. We're a little anxious, like, well, this sucks for everyone, but whatever. Well, then we're like, all right, we better get back on the road.
Jeff and said immediately that you guys thought I would just like shoot myself at that point.
We were glad you weren't there because this would have been anxiety producing for you. It's interesting. A couple people commented that we all have different anxiety points that present at different points throughout when we're working together in these events. Yeah. So like you'll be anxious and we'll be like calm, and it's always one of us. And it's always variable.
That's because we're always worried about different things. We all have different roles that are important to us, which is why it works.
It does work very well, but it's interesting dynamics. So anyways, we're like, all right, well, let's catch up to the rest of the crew. Now that they're all sitting behind this thing, it's probably towards the end. And so we bomb down and there's no one between us and the truck. It's us now right behind the truck again. We're like, what the heck? They must have found a wider part in the road. They saw there was like 20 cars behind them and let everyone through. And now they're not letting us through because we're only like the 4 cars. They're the organizers. Whatever. We finally get there and we're like, well, we have all these police escorts and these guys, I hope.
Oh, they had a police escort too.
There was 5 police cars.
I wonder where they were going because there's nothing out there. Maybe they were, you know what I bet they were doing? Going to Vegas.
I know
exactly
or something. Where they were going.
Oh, tell me.
They were going to Yuma, Arizona, where it was a massive solar complex, solar power generator field. And this was the main power inverter for that entire field.
Wow.
Yeah, or the transformer, I guess.
So they had like the rigging thing. They brought along the rigging to lift it off the trailer because there's no other way to move it, right? So
those if you put that photo back up there, Mr. Producer, you can tell that's just the trailer. So the crane company, I'm sure, makes those trailers as well.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe that they had like part of the.
But I had never seen, if you zoom in, that's 2 separate trailers next to each other. It might actually be 4 trailers that have like an underbelly that this thing is on. Or is that the crane?
I think it's
that might
crane,
be the crane
dude.
laying sideways. I didn't even realize that.
I think it's the crane laying sideways because otherwise they have no way to lift this transformer into place.
Yeah. But like you see the pusher trucks back there. It was wild. So anyways, they pull off.
It's just full of copper. It's just like a giant cube of copper.
You're right.
Yeah. Right?
And copper you can't even tell scale from there because it's so long that it's like that. It was absolutely massive. And so I was a little apprehensive.
At 12 miles per hour.
Yes. And they go, we're only going to such and such here. And then we hit the road again at 4 a.m. Like they're, or like, super late at night or something.
Yeah. So they only travel at certain times of the day.
Yes. Which is exactly, when we wanted to beat sunrise, which makes sense. But they were all like super excited to see our cars, and the drivers all got out and talked to us, and the police escorts, and they're like, where are you going? You're going that way? Okay, don't worry. We're headed east here, and we were going west on our route. So it was all good. And then I was like, so he said something like, yep, so it's going to be open road for you guys. As in, like, there are no police because these are the escorts for the entire area. Yeah. And I go, do you want to give us an escort? Do you want to like buzz ahead? And they're like, nah, we have to do this. We're contracted with this thing. Wow.
One of the most complex, a girder transport system Manufactured in-house, is the flagship of the heavy transport division. It can be assembled, disassembled, and operate with a crew of 3 to 4. Wow. So it is like a crane.
My goodness.
It is a crane.
That is a massive, massive unit. Dual lane running gear.
Wow.
Maximum permitted payload. Oh yeah, self-steering. So like
static load tested to 975,000 pounds.
Yep.
That's 500 tons.
Yep. So other things, so if you read there, it has something about
it only requires a forklift for assembly, Jake.
Yeah, that's all you need to assemble your trailer is one forklift. It's like IKEA, but a little bit different. The guy to make it around the corner, and it's not even like a tight corner out there in the middle of the desert, but like where we meet up in the morning, it's a T. It's one highway comes to the other. They literally, all of these wheels on this thing independently articulate.
Yeah.
Via hydraulic controllers. And so they had to basically
you can pull that down, Mr. Producer.
Have one guy on the side watching, the curbs and like operating it via remote, all of these trailer wheels as it goes around the corner. And it was basically like, it reminded me, the old ladder trucks, fire trucks, where like there's a driver in the rear.
Yeah,
and
Kramer,
exactly, is like on the back, like steering and you're falling out of his seat. That's what was happening with that. So that was the first very interesting thing, but it was fun. The drive itself was amazing. Everyone had a great time. There was
how much of the route did you do?
We kind of beelined it to Garage 79, which was our late lunch stop,
usually, isn't it?
But there's no bad road getting into Garage 79. So like the last like 20, 30 miles was like absolute switchbacks and like super fun and technical and amazing views and elevation. And
did you go by the Salton Sea?
Really cool. Yes, we did. Yep, went by that as well.
So the thing is this route I planned kind of pieced together with roads I'd been on, but I have not been to the Salton Sea. I've now been by it like 3 or 4 times.
I just went by it, yeah. So I didn't like go.
I really want to go drive around.
We did try to go to that ghost town too.
Yeah.
Just like me and Jeff and the guys, and it was all shut down with gated everything.
What's that called? It's like there's a city there. I can't remember what it's called. I would love to
Desert Eagle or something, or Eagle Desert.
I would like to Eagle Point, maybe. I would like to get a permit and pull a permit to have an event there.
Yeah,
is what I would like to do because they film movies and stuff. They filmed, the movie Tenet.
That was filmed there.
Yeah,
because I looked at Google Maps because we only came up to one side of it. And I was like, oh, wow, this is big.
Eagle Mountain, California. Yeah, here it is.
Eagle Mountain.
Yeah, here. I bet I can share my screen. This will be fun.
I was very curious about like what actually happened there. Like, was it a mining town that just went under or?
Yes, it was. Okay. So here's Eagle Mountain. This is the road that comes. This is where the rally meets, is up here on 62 and 167. Come down, and then Eagle Mountain is here. And it's an entire city. That's
look at that.
Completely abandoned.
Look at all of those just abandoned buildings and homes and everything right there.
Yeah, and I mean,
absolutely wild.
Drag my little yellow friend here up in here and take a look. But it is just like, oh, you're at Eagle Mountain, and then there's just this paved road that goes in. So
we made it. Yep, we made it up to past this point. They didn't have the cones there. We made it up to the high school, and then everything was like gated with razor wire. So that was cool. Made it to Garage 79. Actually didn't make it to Garage 79 without another not incident, but another interesting event.
Okay.
So we are bombing down this really fun road to get there. And it's like switchbacks all the way up with like high cliff walls. And then you come down and it's high cliff walls, switchbacks down.
Car. Tell me about the 951 out there and driving it and everything else.
I enjoyed having the car and I enjoyed how sorted it was. Because of how complex that car is, and I did all of the work myself, I had plenty of time to drive it ahead of time and shake
drove it around
down
for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Exactly. But I still had that nagging like anxiety of like, I'm going to break it and then I can't sell it. I think that's why it was. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to break it and that sucks. It's I'm going to break it and then I need to figure out what to do.
$2,000 to ship it home.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. So I was a little concerned about that and apprehensive, but it was, dude, it drove so nice. The suspension is so tight, like brand new adjustable conies on all 4 corners and everything.
Was
like,
there any part of you that was thinking, maybe I'll just keep it?
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm really happy I had it out there, and it was amazing fun. But no.
Why?
I was done with it. It ran its course.
What was its course? What do you mean?
I have put so much blood, sweat, tears, and work into that car, and got to drive it a little bit. But when I was leaving here, it was parked next to the 911, and I would always take the keys to the 911 versus this car.
And the point of that thing was always to sell it, right? I mean, that was even from day one was
basically I wanted to experience it. And sure, if I had totally fell in love and been like, this is the most amazing car ever, then yeah, I wouldn't have sold it. But so it was really, really fast. You can ask Chase, who was riding with us. He's like, dude, I am surprised at how quick this thing is. And it makes all the fun turbo noises. And it just, did you know? Here's the thing that's maybe really, really surprising about these cars. It handles so well because it has 50-50 weight distribution.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah. I don't know if you knew this fact about this car.
Yeah, 50-50 weight balance. Yeah, great. That's why it's such a nightmare. One of the nightmares of that car is that.
Yes. So we're coming down the mountain.
I think that you don't really want 50-50 weight balance in a car. I think it makes it less predictable. You know,
I guess I don't know.
Have you ever spun out in a 914?
I didn't push it hard enough because I did not want to stuff it in a ditch. Yeah. Like there was a couple times the tires were squealing, but that's as far as I went.
Yeah. No drifties?
First gear, like power slide out of a corner, sure.
Yeah, okay.
And then it is predictable because there's no pendulum.
Was it easy
effect.
To drift with your barbed wire, tattoos that you've got on that?
Tribal tattoo
tires?
Yes. Yes, especially when it was slick. It was like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
So anyways, let me continue the story. Otherwise, this is going to go for like 3 hours. We're coming down the mountain, and I see a car.
Like, as you're going, anybody cares.
Okay, whatever. We changed a girl's tire for her because she was.
Tell me about that. What happened?
That's what I was trying to tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
And you said nobody cares.
Nobody cares how long you talk. They don't.
Oh,
that's what
I mean.
It. Yeah,
I thought you said nobody cares about the story. I was like,
no,
fine.
No.
Well, thanks for listening to Overcrest.
No, it's not that.
Nobody likes us.
No.
I think before we continue on, I should say that there were many FCP Euro parts on that car, which lent to it being so dialed in. FCP Euro, of course, is an OEM and aftermarket online parts supplier for European cars. They have over 275,000 parts in their catalog, shipping from both coasts now. You get free shipping on any order over $49, and it'll get there probably in 2 or 3 days or less because they ship from Arizona as well as Connecticut. They have awesome assembled kits that are ready to go to make any job kind of foolproof. You don't have to figure out what parts you need or, oh, shoot, are those one-time use stretch bolts that I'm probably not otherwise going to replace, but I should. They come with the kit if you're doing that. So it makes it perfect. They're also just really, really solid, awesome guys. We got to hang out and chat with them quite a bit this entire weekend. And it's so amazing how enthusiastic and real those guys are. Like, they are car guys first and foremost who care about the community. They care about their customers, and they happen to be just a really good business and good at what they do with all of the parts as well. So check them out at fcpeuro.com. So you kind of have switchbacks to the point where if you're going around one corner, you can see for a second up ahead between like the mountain canyons. And I'm going and I get a glimpse as I'm coming around, and I can kind of see through. There's a car on the shoulder, like pretty, like as far off as they could get, it seemed. But I was like, that is
in a tight spot.
Terrible place to stop. It was like, yeah, on the inside of a corner that's blind. So I saw it coming, and I was like, my first thought is like, what an idiot. Who stops right there? And then
you'd have to
as we're passing, I see this like 20-something girl just like frantic and bawling and waving at me. And so I just slam on the brakes and like pull over in front of her. And I'm like, oh my God, like something is terribly wrong. Like my first thought, because I have a kid now, is like her kid is like choking or unresponsive in the back seat or something, right? Yeah. And so we get out, and there was no kid in the car, but she had a flat. We were in a spot with no cell service. It was a Nissan Altima, I believe.
Nissan things. Got it.
I guess. So she had a flat, she had no cell service, and she was like late, and she was in full like panic attack. She was having a panic attack. And so like calmed her down. Chase was with me. I was like, Chase, first of all,
which side of the car was the flat on?
It was on the inside, or the
goodness.
passenger side, luckily.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so go, Chase, first of all, hop in, put the flashers on, make sure the e-brake is on. And I go, you and I, let's like walk up the berm a little bit in case this gets plowed into. You're not going to die. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I haven't changed the tire in this before, and and so I was like, I can't call anyone.
He's a felon and has been in prison.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, first of all, take my phone, make your call or whatever. We can change your tire. And so it was pretty easy. Although I got the jack under it and started to jack it up, and then wait for the so like you want to be able to break the nuts loose when the wheel's on the ground. So I got it to that point, and then popped the hubcap off, and I get 3 of the lugs off, and then realized the last one's a locking lug. And I'm like, shit, we might be done. We might be out of. And I look in the rear. It's not in the toolkit. It's not there. I'm like, damn it. And so I go in the glove box. I don't see it rattling around. And then I open like the little, here's your owner's manual. And it was in there, luckily. I was like, okay,
like, good. Was it just in there, or does it have a little spot?
No, it was just like in there.
Okay. I was going to say, that's a terrible place for that.
It was not an OEM lug. Like someone put on these locking
just in case
things.
Someone wants to steal your steel wheel with hubcaps.
Yeah, with hubcaps, exactly. Yeah. So got it off, got the donut spare on there, put it back down, and realized like that donut spare isn't much better because
it's been used before.
No, it wasn't used before, but it was not fully inflated. And I was like, those call for like 60 psi plus, and this maybe had 30 in it. So I was like, okay.
Well, that's more than 0, which is what she had before.
Exactly. And I could tell. So the tire was on the outside rim completely, like there was nothing connecting it to the outside rim of the wheel. She's like, I was in a really, really bad spot and just like limped it down. And she's like, and everyone was honking at me, and everyone was trying to get by me and yelling at me. And so I stopped here, and I don't know what to do. So she was very distraught, and we got her taken care of. But I was like, all right,
the white knight, Jake.
Very easy. Well, no, here's what I was worried about is that she was going to go down the hill, make it 2 corners. And because that's low on air pressure, that was going to pop. And then we'd really be SOL. So I go, just take it very, very easy down the hill. We'll be behind you, like basically blocking. And we get to the gas station and filled her tire up for her, and she's good to go. And she was like, you have Venmo? I was like, no. And don't
worry about it.
You're fine. That's not why we're doing this. Like I want to help people like that.
Please pay me $38 for, life and limb.
Chase was like, dude, we probably could have told her like that was a $400 emergency service right there. It's like,
well, it pretty much would be if
I know it would.
She had to call someone to come out there and do it. It would be very, very expensive.
Yes. So
I'm very hesitant. I've stopped and helped people out on the side of the road many times.
Yeah.
And I'm very hesitant to do so now after, there's just been tragedy that has happened to people on the side of the road that have pulled over to help.
In our communities as well.
Yeah. Martha Plaster's
and that's
husband.
Why the first thing.
And it just scares me. I think about that every time
I know.
now.
Especially in such a bad spot this was.
Well, that's almost like
my mind.
It's a bad spot, but it's better than being on the side of the freeway.
Right. Good point. Because that.
Hold on. We're going to move right on to Garage 79 now, right? Is that what's
Yes,
next?
we are. Yep.
All right.
Hey, who's this guy?
Mr. Jeff, what's up, man?
What's going on?
We are recounting our adventure this weekend, and basically at the point in the story where we are about to arrive at Garage 79, and wanted to talk about how awesome that setup was for us.
We just finished talking about how Jake risked life and limb to change that girl's tire on the side of side of a cliff.
Yeah. Garage 79 was awesome.
It was so cool.
The weather was good. The vibe was great. I mean, we had done a little bit of work with Omar, who, I can't say enough about Omar. He owns Garage 79. He's just the best. And we had some hand-painted storage containers and some unique parking. What else was there? There's a guy hand-painting a car.
Yeah, guy was hand pinstriping a car on site. We had multiple food truck vendors there. We had awesome beer that Omar, I think, brews himself, doesn't he? It's like a brew house thing. I don't know if it's a Garage 79
I don't
beer
think he brews
or
his own
either
beer,
way.
but
It's
one
awesome,
thing that
awesome space.
I heard from a lot of people was that was one of their favorite parts of the whole thing. I think I heard it from you guys too, that it was like so good to just hang out there and be in that place. It seems like such a good place, and Omar is such a good dude.
Yeah, super cool.
I think Garage 79 is like the kind of the peak level of roadside stop. You pull off, you're there, and you just don't want to leave. Like there's music, there's people, there's cool stuff going on, and you end up hanging out there 2-3 hours, and time just kind of flies by.
Yeah, well, it sure
really
beats the
did.
hell out of driving down to LA. That's for sure.
He had a cool DJ there that was like, I'd never seen this, where he's like doing his own set, but then he also had his bass guitar, so he would like riff on his own like mixes, which was kind of cool to see, like that live side of DJing as well. That was really cool. I enjoyed that.
Smoking a cigarette and like using a beat pad. Like,
yeah,
it was great.
It was a vibe.
I wanted to ask you
sure.
what you thought of driving a different car, because you've got your 911, which is really kind of dialed into your spec. You've got your wheels and tires on there, and your suspension, your alignment, exactly how you want everything. How was driving someone else's 3.2 Carrera?
Yeah, I drove Bill Wolfson's. It was an SC, but it has a 3.2 now.
Oh, that's why I'm confused.
And it's pretty well sorted. I would say it's like an OEM plus kind of car. The suspension feels really good. You can tell he's gone through and done a lot of little things to it. So my car is a little, it's on 17s roof CTR wheels, and it's a little bit more on rails, but his car was great. I think that's what's so interesting about G-bodies is they can feel so different one to another. But his was like the ultimate kind of rally cruiser, like super comfortable. Just, I could have spent all day cruising in that. There's nothing harsh about it. So cool car.
Except for
car.
the giant boulder that hit you in the field.
What?
We decided to take a little adventure up to a ghost town.
We showed the map of it, but we have no details really. If you know the history of that place, I couldn't remember it.
Well, it was up to 4,000 people. My daughter, who was along with me, my 14-year-old daughter, Belle, she sat on Wikipedia and read all the history of everything as we drove out and back.
That's awesome.
So it was a 4,000 person.
People pay a lot of money for that kind of narration on their trips. A tour guide.
Kids are expensive, so I feel like I have made the investment. But yeah, the town maxed at 4,000 people. It was built there by the mining company. They did a lot of iron ore out there, and full shopping center, school, parks, like community swimming pool, over 200 plus houses. Like it was a big community, and then really started falling off in the early 80s. And by 1987, the last graduating class of the high school had gone. What was interesting, and Jake, you saw this, there's still a school out there. And we discovered reading Wikipedia, there's 29 kids, K through 8, that still go to school in this ghost town.
The school is still active?
Even though the town is all fenced off and like barbed wire,
I didn't know that.
the school is active.
Wow. That's crazy. But on your way in, there is still, it's not a mining operation, but I think it's just like a gravel pit on the side of it now on part of the land. So there was a bunch of like gravel trucks going in and out. And apparently from the impact crater on the windshield, it must have been a large rock that came flying at you.
It gave us a good little jump. Luckily we had a little I drove here sticker that I was able to just repair the windshield with. And on we went.
Very aptly positioned.
I'm looking at movies that have been filmed there. Constantine was filmed there. The Island, Tenet, Top Gear has filmed at Eagle Mountain. They included challenges that required a desolate backdrop. So Top Gear filmed there. I don't like The Professionals, which looks like some old ass movie that I've never even heard of.
I think I've seen that.
I was telling Jake, I'd really love to maybe try and have an event there somehow, some way.
I feel like it might pop up someday in our future repertoire.
Who knows?
Yeah, 100%. So after Garage 79, we then everyone made their own way down to LA and Orange County Fairgrounds there, where the Airwater show was being held the next day. And of course, our VIP attendees had the early load in, which was like an awesome perk to be able to do that, especially since it was dry that evening.
Yeah.
Yes, it was dry. And this year we got in a lot faster. Pat's team got us in the door pretty quick, and it was pretty seamless. I mean, we got pretty, VIP parking. It's pretty sweet. I mean, park your car inside the show, and you don't have to, you're done with it. You can show up the next morning super early, and your car's already there.
And you already got your wristband. You don't have to buy a ticket, or you have to buy a ticket, but you got your wristband. You can just walk right in. It was nice for folks.
VIP
to be able to do that.
to the point where I was the first one there to kind of make sure everything was organized, and Jeff Zwart was there on his golf cart, and he was parked me and the first couple cars personally, and he's like, all right, so we're just going to continue this down the line. And so it was like perfect curated parking. Absolutely it was. So that was awesome. And then we get up the next morning. I can't remember if we did anything that night that was worth remembering.
If you've already deleted the brain cells, probably not.
Yes, I did. We just went back. We had whatever. But the next morning we get up and it is a deluge.
Yeah, it was like a Midwest storm. It was coming down at 45-degree angle, just heavy. And I think for those of us Midwest gumshoes, we were like, oh, it's raining. But if you're from Southern California, that is like
they were melting.
Yeah. Once every 6-month event.
So luckily it did clear off at about what was it? By the time you got there, Chris, it was definitely clear skies. And so
I ate my sandwich in the rain and had some wet bread as I was
there you go.
And sat on a wet chair. But after that, I got to experience some pain.
I had someone ask me, how did you get to the fairgrounds from wherever you flew into?
I took an Uber. So I like it's like, do you want an Uber Black? It's $200. And I go, I just can't. There's no way. So I just got a regular I got a Lyft actually. It's kind of weird how Uber is almost like Kleenex because they were first. So you say you're going to get an Uber.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody says they're going to get a Lyft.
Share
Well, you don't say, somebody please hand me a tissue. It's just, you just say, I want a Kleenex. Yeah. Same thing with an Uber. Or like if you're getting a DoorDash, nobody says, oh, I'm going to get an Uber Eats. No, you're going to get a DoorDash. You're going to get your food delivered. It's almost, anyway. So I get the Lyft, the ride share. And it's like, do you want the premium thing? Yes, but no, because it's always a nightmare. And then I see it popped up that it's like a brand new like Infinity, like Q whatever. I'm like, oh man, maybe they were just trying to sucker me into buying the thing because this is what was picking me up anyways. So they were trying to like siphon some money off me because I'm getting this anyway. I'm like, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be a comfortable drive. Last time it was some EV thing, like a Mustang EV, and the guy was like on and off the brakes, like. I don't know if he was trying to charge his battery up or whatever, but I almost threw up by the time I got to where I was going. And I actually wrote Lyft a letter. It was so bad. And I had a video of his foot going like this for like 10 minutes. And I sent it to him. I said, I just want a refund. And they said, sorry, no refunds. And I was like, wow, this is really bad. I was very disappointed in the customer service.
Was your experience better this time?
No. Well, slightly, yes. The thing was, I was like, this is going to be great. It's going to be like a Infinity is what? Honda, right?
Nissan.
It's
Nissan. That's right. It's not right. Nissan's luxury brand. It's got to be good. It's to be comfortable. I open the door and the seat is just like flat. Like how many fat fuckers have sat on the seat in this Infinity and just blown out? Same with the other side. The back seat's destroyed. It's like it's like a deflated balloon just laying there. I'm like, okay, well, maybe the suspension will be good. No, it was not. Every single bushing, every strut tower, every shock, there was no rubber in any parts of any suspension bit from here to, there all the way to.
How long was that ride?
About an hour and 20 minutes.
Oof. How was your driver? That's usually what makes
what was great?
I could care less about
he goes, here's how many words were said. Chris? That's it. That was it. That's it. And when I got out, he goes, thank you. And that was it. I was like, this was the best Uber ride I've ever had.
Yes.
Because the
Perfect.
guy didn't, last time I was out here when I went to get the W124, the guy I feel like I was an expert in cold plunges by the time I got there. Because this guy sells cold plunges as like his side hustle. And his dad is some sort of sports medicine guy. But he has like a bunch, he's like a trainer for NFL players. And my dad used to love old Mercedes because he was an agent and like all this stuff. And it was somewhat interesting. But after about 20 minutes of a guy talking, I just want to just zone out and just hop on my phone, do some emails, whatever the case may be. And not buy. He's like, oh, dude, I'll send you my cold plunge info. I'll send it to you. Can you give me your email? I gave him the email. I have not seen any information on cold plunges yet.
Well, that's
good. I can't. I know that there are people out there that go on about their day-to-day lives without a car, only using rideshare,
right,
or public transportation. I cannot fathom doing that. I can't.
You don't like people, Chris. You don't like people.
I think even people that love people still don't want to talk to an Uber driver every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah. No, I know. Jeff, do you have any?
When did you get there, Chris? What time of day?
It had to have been like 1:30.
Okay.
So everything was kind of, rolling down. I got to run through the sponsor area and say hello to FCP and say hello to CSF and talk to our buddies. And we met up with Mobile One, and that was awesome. And we got to see all kinds of friends in that short period of time, just walking around, which made it worth it. I got there. I flew all the way out there. I'm like, gosh, I'm only here for like 24 hours, maybe 36 hours. Man, this is a lot of travel time. But once you get there and you get out and you start meeting people and seeing smiling faces again, it's priceless.
That's kind of how I feel about, the cars are awesome. Every time I go to a Luft or Airwater event, it's just, my mind's kind of blown. But I really think it's the people that make it worth going there. And you get to connect with, whether it's old friends or people you've wanted to meet or people, you've been 100%. DMing. It's awesome. And yeah, you're in this amazing setting too, with all the cars and it's almost like a conversation starter. But yeah, the cars are the backdrop, at least for me. It's about the people.
Yeah. If you think of like groups and communities, there's all kinds of groups and communities out there. There's got to be like a ladies that knit community, where they all get together and they see each other at knitting conventions every once in a while. And they show up at the Holiday Inn Express Convention Center and talk about new yarn. There's got to be stuff like that out there, and there's communities.
You can't use
everywhere.
that polyester blend, Chris.
No. It's you got to have the there's new stuff I saw at Sparkles at TJ Maxx that not TJ Maxx, Hobby Lobby that my daughter buys is the sparkly yarn, and it's probably why I'm thinking about this right now. But one thing that I think is really special about car culture is, if you're in the yarn and the knitting club, you may be making sweaters and stuff for other people, but you're not cars are really like a representation of you. They're very customized to who you are. And it's something that you can pour yourself into. And then it becomes a tool that you use for an end. For us, it's for exploration, right? We get out there and we go and we use the tool to go see new things and go to crazy places with our version of the knitting club, the Overcrest family and everything like that. So we're just knitting out in the desert instead, right? And
hey, shout out to our Drivers Club members who are also involved in the knitting club membership. That's a added bonus. They probably didn't know that. And of course, if you're not a Drivers Club member, please check that out. Overcrestproductions.com/Drivers Club. The only reason I was bringing this up is we should start a knitting Discord subsection.
We could. What we need is like a strange hobbies section. That
Ooh,
I would be
there
down
you go.
With, is
okay,
like
that'll
obscure
work.
hobbies.
Yes. So
there was a guy that came on and sent me a DM on Instagram the other day. He's like, "Hey man, I remade yours and Jake's cars
that was so cool in Hot Wheels.
Rad. It's super rad.
Very cool.
They're really cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the show was awesome, of course. Jeff, I don't know if you have any highlights of what you saw or if there was anything surprising.
I think there was, the F1 car. The Marlboro car was the Prost car was really cool. There's so many cool cars. It's just the one challenge I have with these shows is they're desensitizing.
Oh yeah, big time.
You would obsess over maybe one of these cars, but there's hundreds of them there, And so it almost desensitizes. There were some super cool art pieces. I mean, that's what I'm always most interested in, the cars that are doing something a little bit artistic. Some cool art cars that I really, really enjoyed. And then, it's always fun to go into the Haggerty has the Broad Arrow auction and watch that whole, watch the
spectacle, the
doing their
spectacle.
thing.
So you should tell the story of Kenny and the Broad Arrow, because Kenny is always around all the Overcrest events. He's one of my favorite people and a very close friend of mine. He helps out with social
thanks.
when we're doing events. He's fantastic, and he needs a 911.
People.
So Kenny's kind of on our.
That's what's wrong.
No, I know you were implying that I was not one of your favorite people.
I didn't say he was my favorite person. It's not a fixed pie, Jake. I can have as many favorite people as I want, and Kenny happens to be one of them. So are you.
Cool. Same.
So, dorks. The thing with Kenny is he's been saving for a 911. He's kind of got his heart on an air-cooled 911. That's what he was wanted. So, Airwater was fun for him in many ways.
Plus, he got to drive the gold car that you drove.
Yes, he got to drive Bill's car that I was driving. He's had his eye on that car for a while, so he wants a mid-year 911, which admittedly, a lot of the people who maybe go to auctions have been through those cars, so there's a lot of them. They're pretty plentiful. You can find them, but they're not necessarily cheap. So Kenny's been looking, he's been hunting, he's kind of got his eye out, and this Broad Arrow auction is going with some insane cars, amazing vehicles, speedsters, and really rare stuff, and singers and whatever. And right in the middle of the auction is a mid-year Carrera, just a very standard coupe.
But
really
an
nice
absolutely pristine example.
Beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was like creme de la creme of this example. But I think to your point, it was kind of like, well, the folks that are at the auction bidding on these like $1 million or multi-$100,000 cars, this comes on, they're like, well, yeah, that's not really of interest. Yep. And you were there watching it, Jeff.
They had pegged this car to go between $80,000 and $100,000. That was kind of on the windshield sticker.
Yeah.
That's what they estimated. So Kenny has never been to an auction. He kind of wanders into this. He wants a 911, but he's just, there for the kicks and watching this thing happen. And this car is not getting a whole lot of bids. It's like in the high 30,000s. And he's sitting there, and you watch his face suddenly realize this is like the opportunity of a lifetime, but he's not registered to bid. And there's only like a minute left, and so I'm just watching Kenny, and the time just keeps counting down. Very few people bidding. It ends at $42,000 for this car that's worth far more than that. And I felt for Kenny.
Just defeated, just deflated. Oh man.
Then we went out and looked at the car. He's looking over the car. He's kind of recalibrating. Okay, well, maybe this is what these cars are worth. And the rest of us are saying, like, Kenny,
sorry, man,
this car is worth a lot more than that.
There's no reserve. It sold.
No reserve.
Yeah. Oh my God. Someone lost their ass. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Woo. Yeah. You know what you won't lose your ass on, Chris?
What?
Petrol Box.
Yes.
Petrol Box is the monthly service made specifically for the automotive enthusiast. Every month they carefully select.
Jeff, do you have a Petrol Box?
I have had one.
We need a.
We'll get Jeff Petrol Boxes, because the best part is every month you get this surprise in your mailbox, and it's going to be something good and interesting. They have detailing supplies, garage gear, tools. There's always a sticker. There's always a pin. Sometimes they've sent out publications, magazines. They have hats. We got a sweatshirt one month. It's really cool stuff that's always interesting. And it is for as little as $19.95 a month, or you can have the Petrolbox Premium with even more gear for $39.95 a month. Check them out at mypetrolbox.com. Makes a great gift.
All right, so after Airwater,
during Airwater, I was speaking of cars that are worth a ton more money. you know,
Please.
and just great values. I was basically by my car, and I'd see, or like as I walked up to it, I was very apprehensive because, as I said earlier, Jeff, I had no contingency plan. There was no plan B for me. Like, this had to sell.
You pulled out all the stops.
Because I'm a little late to the conversation, I want to set the stage a little more. Jake showed up. The only thing he didn't bring this weekend was a plaid jacket with like some Tanaka. I mean, he was in full used car sales mode. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
he had printouts with QR codes for sale on the side of the car.
That went to a link. I've already been through this, Jeff, but I'm going to do it again.
Jeff
went
doesn't
to a
know.
link. He utilized Overcrest resources and built himself a website.
You and I should get a cut, Chris.
That's what I said.
No, stop, people.
Yes,
that's what I said. I'll renegotiate 3%. 3%.
Maybe.
Me and Jeff will split it.
Maybe.
That's generous. That's
very generous.
Maybe we could talk about it.
Well, so he's been. I mean, we're at the drive at Garage 79. Every stop. I mean, from the time it started at Roy's all the way through, Jake is. I mean, every
this weekend I slicked my hair back too. It was just
Did you try to sell to the girl with the flat tire?
No,
like, hey,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised he didn't. So he worked it hard. He was working it, and so he's at Airwater, which is all intents and purposes, it's kind of the end of the selling window because it's
100%.
Yeah.
And so at first there wasn't a lot of people that even saw that it was for sale because I didn't want it to be. Here's the thing. It probably is not allowed to have a for sale sign on your car at Airwater. So I just had it very nonchalantly on the seat, right? I was like, I don't want to be like cause any riff with our awesome partners and these awesome people. And so I was like, this isn't going to work. What am I doing? No one even knows it's for sale. This sucks. And so I go out there and I stand by it, and a guy comes up, and as you do, they come up and they ask you questions. Oh, this is your car? I was like, yep. And he's like, oh, what such and such, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yep. And it's actually for sale. And as soon as I said that, he wasn't necessarily interested. But then the next guy heard that. And this repeated after. So I was by my car constantly talking to at least one person the entire show. And then the next guy would come up and be like, oh, were you saying it was for sale? And so at one point, this guy comes and I can tell he's very interested. He has several other cars, but he's like, he realizes like, this is a pretty good deal for how sorted this thing is. And he's like, I need to think about it. Like, I think it's actually, here's the thing I should say. These things are very, very difficult, at least personally for me, to price. You can find
they're all over the place.
Clapped out ones for $5,000, and then they go on bring a trailer for $50,000 for a nice one. Which okay,
I hear you can
that's
get
the
one
creme
for
de creme.
$600 is what I hear you can get one for.
It was $900 I paid for it.
Sorry, I told a couple people who got it for like $600. I was way off.
You were way off. Yeah. Okay, but that was not running in a guy's field with a diesel motor from a Volkswagen in it.
I understand.
We won't go there.
So Jake, Steve, who's in our route, like he's come on a couple of rallies. Steve, I think, was the one who was talking to you about this car.
Yes.
He had
so
cash
he was the
in hand,
first. He was cash in hand.
Yeah.
He was the first one that come up and was like serious. And he was like, I need to talk to my wife. I need to talk to my CPA and just let me think about it. He goes, I think I'm in as a buyer. So let me just think. And I was like, awesome, great. And the next guy comes up, and he's the one that I was referring to, who was like very serious, asking all the right questions, got it all. And then another guy comes up and he's like, oh, I don't remember his name, Bill, hey, how are you? Shakes his hand. And he's looking over the car and he hands me a card. What he was doing is he is apparently, I come to learn, the singular 944 turbo guru mechanic in the country, probably the world from what I'm hearing. And so I'm like, this is either going to be absolutely terrible for me because he's the guy that'll know and point out everything that's wrong.
Oh boy, here we go.
Or,
this is where Jake starts to inflate his ego that the one guy that knows everything says he did a great job and blah, blah, blah.
He didn't even say that. He didn't. But or it's going to be good for me because he'll be like, yeah, it's solid or whatever. So he knows this guy who's looking at buying it. And so now they're going back and forth, blah, 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 and pointing stuff out. And I'm kind of overhearing it. I'm like, yeah, well, that's because XYZ or whatever else. And I just kept saying, I was trying to be as transparent as possible. And I'm like, this is not a concourse car, guys. This is a driver, and it drives really well. It's sorted for that. There are still, of course, some niggling things like the AC compressor that I mentioned, and the speedo stopped working because of the sender wiring or something weird. So, like, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. And he goes, honestly, you're probably pretty close on asking price, which was $20K out there. And some people were like, that's it, $20K, but they weren't interested in buying.
I said, how much do you think that he sold it for? Because I was trying to feel out, like,
exactly,
some of the other 944 people that I rent to. They're like, I don't know, 25, 30 grand.
Yeah,
my mind was blown because
you had no idea that.
I had no idea, and there's no world in which I would do that.
And so I thought or hoped that. But then in my research before all this, I went to bring a trailer and looked at transactions, and it was like pristine examples were not even getting 20. And so I'm like, okay, I got to be realistic here, especially if I want to sell it. So anyways, our friend came and he goes, no, it wasn't him. He's like, I gotta bail out. It's not going to work for me. I can't pull the trigger. Great. Fine. Thank you.
Man,
like,
you're going to
sell it. You're going to sell it.
You're just watching the resource of your time at Airwater.
100%. And then this other guy who's talking with the guru.
The thing too is he had to change the light bulbs in the Jake's Used Cars sign that was over the top of the car.
Right. Yeah, because they were burning out. So much time was going by. Exactly. Long story short, the dude who knows the guru, they come back and forth, and he goes, I tell you what, you'll probably get more than this, but you can have me as a standing offer at 16. And that was a huge relief, if not happy. But I was like, all right, thank you. He goes, I'm pretty convinced that you will get more by the end of the day. But
did you tell him I'm leaving this car here? I'm super screwed.
He knew.
Buy it. Okay.
Yep.
So
everybody knew the same thing. And that's why I think he was like, sure, 16, take it or leave it.
Exactly.
And I go, all right, I'm not going to shake your hand on it. He goes, you'll probably get more later, but you have a standing offer. Great. Cool. And then the day goes on, and there's like a couple of these guys who are interested, him and Han, and they're like, oh, I wish I could. That's great. What a cool story. And I'm kind of like, crap. It's not selling, whatever. I have 16, not what I want, but it's whatever. It's gone. And then this guy comes along, and he's just sitting there across the road looking at it. And he comes up and he's like, is this your car, man? I was like, yep. He goes, I haven't gone up to anyone in any of these cars to talk to him, but this is it for me. He goes, I love this. The wheels, the look, it's red. It's everything. It's so good. He goes, I've always wanted one of these. It's so great. I go, well, it could be yours. He's like, huh? I go, no, really, it's for sale. And he's like, are you serious? I go, yeah. And actually, as I'm remembering, this is when our friend came back.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm sorry, man. I couldn't do it. He goes, and he's standing there just like looking at the car, the other owner, the new owner now. And our friend is like, to be completely honest, yeah, I can't do it. But I think, just so you know, he goes, I would have probably offered you 18.5. And I said something like, and that probably would have taken it. And this guy turns around and he goes, 18.5? Hands, just holds out his hand. And I go, yeah. He goes, all right, sold. I want to buy it.
Had you talked about?
He didn't know anything about the car. And so as soon as I shook his hand, I go, look, man, do you want to know about the car? Like, read the QR code. Like, this thing has a story. He goes, it looks
company
great.
resources to put this thing together.
Exactly.
You should at least look at it.
Yes. And he's like,
what year it was after he shook your hand? Like,
yeah, he shook my hand. He's like, what year is it? He's like, it runs, right?
I love that
and
enthusiasm. That's great.
And so I was like, dude, like, he's like, you're the worst salesman ever. You're trying to talk me out of this. I was like, no, but I also want you to know exactly what you're buying so that it doesn't come back to haunt me. And he goes, honestly, you seem like such I like your vibe, man. You're such a cool guy. You seem very honest. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried.
You're one of my favorite people, and I like your vibe too.
Thank you, Chris. Man. I really appreciate that.
Welcome.
You're walking it back now.
Yeah.
And
then
so I was like,
then Jake proceeded to take off the plaid jacket. He could put the Banaka away in the glove compartment.
that was a huge relief. It was kind of a come down.
I haven't heard of Banaka in a long time. Can you still buy that?
Probably
I think you
not.
can.
It's like new
Or you
old
can-
stock.
New old stock Banaka? Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We should get them as a partner on the
I
podcast
love it.
for Jake.
Yes. So yeah, that's how it went down. He goes, he said this to his friend the next day. He goes, it was a 90-second transaction. He goes, from the time you came over to tell me you liked the car, I said, yeah, it could be yours. And he heard the other guy say, I would have offered 18.5. I said, that would have taken it. He goes, then I bought it.
And that was, and then he Venmo'd you a deposit.
He Venmo'd me a deposit. And I was like, all right, well, how do you want to do this logistically? Like, can you get a cashier's check? Should we go to the bank afterward? And he proceeded to, like, honestly, a really cool guy. He proceeded to tell me, I'm in finance. I'm a broker. He opened up his account and showed me his brokerage account balance. And he's like, so just so you know, I'm good for it. I'm like, yes, you are, sir. Yes, yes, you are. So that's why this was such like a, yeah, sure, I'll buy it type of deal, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, I really want you to know. So I told him everything. I told him the speedo wasn't working. I told him the AC compressor. I told him everything I went through. And he's like, dude, you're so honest. Like, I'm not worried at all. This is great. I love it.
Shut up and take my money. It's
exactly
literally that meme. Shut up and take my money.
And I'm like, no, hold on. Wait, you got to listen to everything.
Speaking of capital accounts and everything, are you planning on paying taxes on that extra $16,400 in profit that you made?
Of course I would.
$17,400.
Yes, naturally. I am an honest.
Our cut, Chris. Take out our cut.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
Extra 3%.
There you go. So, anyways, I was like, how are we gonna do this? And I was like, well, he lives up in LA, and I'm like, well, we're actually gonna be in Torrance tomorrow for the FCP show. He goes, dude, that's like more than halfway to my house. That's perfect. He goes, so I'll just get a ride down there and pick it up then. And I'm like, great. But then, yes, he sent me $1,000. In the morning, I leave early to go out there. And I'm like, what if he backs out? What if he gets buyer's remorse and like came home and he's like, wait, what am I doing? And just decides to walk away.
$1,000.
Right. But that still doesn't help me. I would much rather have it sold. But he comes out in the morning and is more ecstatic than ever. He goes, dude, I finally read your write-up. Because I go, I better
on overcrestproductions.com
/944. You too can learn about the car you missed out on.
It's still there.
It's for now, yeah.
I think it should stay
up
there forever so we can joke about it in perpetuity.
Fine, do it.
Until you buy another 944 to sell, and then we'll replace it.
And then I'll just replace it. There you go. Yeah. No, never again. But he was so excited. He had his buddy come to like see it, he said a car guy, and I don't think he had planned on staying at the show at all. This just happened to be like a nice convenient place to exchange. And we left and he was still there.
This
like
is the
hours
FCP
and
Euro
hours
Sunday
later.
Motoring Club,
yes,
which was,
he was so excited because all these people were like coming to talk about it and reinforcing his purchase.
They had 1,000 cars there.
It was ridiculous how amazing that show was. Yeah. But
so I went up to the guy. I was like, "Yes, car." I was like, "Hey, man, I love your car." He's like, and I know he didn't know me, so I wanted to kind of get his deal. Dude, I just bought this car. You wouldn't believe it. And I go, I would believe it because that's my buddy Jake. And the guy was so excited, man.
I have a
so
very
genuinely
important
excited
question. What car are you selling at Luft this fall in Durham?
I don't know. Yeah, I better figure that out.
I feel like there's a theme
we've
that
got to find one. We've got to find one.
Well, let's go to an international scout convention because that's the next one on the docket.
Well, we got to drag that Scirocco over to your house here pretty soon. Actually, Jeff wanted it.
I don't need to take the Scirocco.
I'm taking it this summer. I'll take.
Mitchell's taking it. It's getting Mitchell from Mitchell Denny. He's in the Overcrest Drivers Club and in the Discord and comes on the rallies and stuff. Is going to be repainting the Scirocco, everybody, and we're going to use it again for the free ride this year. He's going to fly out on mid-May to get it and drive it back to his place, like 12 hours away, and he's going to do the body work on the car.
Oh,
that's really cool.
Wait. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited.
We did skip over the fact that in between that, we had, of course, the Harmony event, which was the kickoff of the Overcrest Foundation. Speaking of the free ride scholarship program car, which was a really, really cool event that we did in partnership with FCP Euro. I'm sorry, with CSF Cooling. And it was a really I thought it was, what did you guys think? It was a really awesome event.
I don't know. You guys left me to stand outside and hand out wristbands for 3 hours by myself.
It was a great
event.
Great event. You know what I had for dinner, Jake? I had a taco full of ants.
That I brought you.
That you brought me, and then I was busy, so then I set it on the ground, and then when I picked it up and took a bite out of it, there was ants were crawling out of the taco.
Extra flavor and protein.
Yeah, it was extra protein. But no, it was awesome. I went in and hung out and talked to everybody for a long time and went around and saw some really cool garages inside Finish Line, and it was amazing to have that outpouring of support for starting what we hope will be blossoming into something incredible, which is the Overcrest Foundation. And you can read about it on the website. I'm not going to wax on about it right now. You can go to Overcrest.
It was a super cool event. It was, in many ways, it was very different than like Overcrest personality. It was a super diverse crowd. Like we had a lot of people. We had people who had just unreal supercars, and then we had a ton of Overcrest people that are in our community, drivers club people that showed up. It was really, really cool. And I mean, we had a packed house. I don't know how many were there, 400 or 500 people, but it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was.
Sure.
It was a lot of people, and music. Ravi from CSF he knows how to throw a party.
No question about that.
He had a DJ there, a full taco bar that went all the way till like 10:30 at night. Drinks. I mean, it was really fun, and it was cool. And especially we got to thank Ravi for just hosting and helping put that together, and for him partnering with us to help kick off the Overcrest Foundation. Because I don't know if we could have picked a better guy to help us throw a banging party.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to hear more about the foundation, you can hop on the website and look at it there. I'm really excited to start doing things now and start working on some experiences and some ideas and kick off our give back arm of Overcrest. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I think we should also talk about Nokian tires. Has been an awesome partner for us.
They're also great.
They have officially launched their newest tire, and this is one we're especially excited about. It's the Surpass ASO1, and what sets it apart is a high-performance all-season tire made specifically for drivers who want the most out of their cars without sacrificing capability when the roads get slick. So you got high performance with that all season. We know all too well how unpredictable roads can be in the weather when you're out on one of our rallies or one of your own adventures. So it's nice that you have that capability of this tire. Not only does it come with a 55,000 mile warranty, it also offers Nokian tires pothole protection. If you happen to damage your tire beyond repair, Nokian will replace it for free. Check it out at nokiantires.com/surpass.
And just a reminder that Nokian was one of the first people to come along and support Overcrest. They're incredible. They believed in us, and they're part of this community. And if you need a new set of tires, they've got all kinds of great tires out there. Go check them out. Don't just go to the old guard that you've always bought tires for. Go check out and see what they got, and give them your business. They're good guys over there. All right, guys. Am I frozen?
No.
Oh, you're like just staring into the. Staring into the void. Like
I just read the ad. Now it's you. That's how this podcast works. I
breathing.
talk, and then you talk.
Yeah, I know. With three people, I was just waiting.
I'm just trying not. I'm not trying not to butt in.
No, that's all right. That's really all we got for this week. I will not be here next week. I'm going to be down in Wales, digging through Grandpa's stuff and seeing what he's all hoarding in that basement down there, which will be an interesting experience.
I love how you said last week or the week before you go, I realize now why I am the way I am, like a product of your environment and how similar you guys were. So I can only imagine.
That means
exactly.
That means there's going to be some treasures for sure.
Oh yeah,
Chris has a lot of treasures.
There's my dad's been working on the garage, and he's taking any tools he finds, anything he takes them and puts them aside for me. And my grandpa always had a different toolbox for each car that he had, and then he would get another car. He didn't own a lot of cars, so there's not that many, but he would just build another toolbox. So there's all these toolboxes with like these emergency kits for all these different cars, and I go, I'm looking around. I'm like, holy smokes! I've got all these canvas bags with like all these tools in it that go in each car.
That's cool.
And I have his old toolbox is there, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to bringing home most. I think is the old toolbox.
Yeah.
Also, and you guys have to tell me what you think about this. Is he has a Rabbit engine? This is a great conversation to have. I was going to talk about it on one of our meetings, but this is fun to talk about it here too. There's a JH, which is the 1.8 liter GTI engine.
Okay.
There's one of those there with a close ratio gearbox, and it's got a big cam in it, and it's got like ported heads. Should we put that in the Scirocco? It would be very easy. We could do it in a day.
Compare to what's in the Scirocco right now, because we already went through that motor and did the 5-speed swap.
I would say in terms of power, probably 30 horsepower. It is a huge difference. It would really wake the car up. The car is very fun to drive right now, but it does not have a lot of power. You know, it's a 1.6 with the G grind cam in it or whatever, and it's great, and I like it. But a JH, like a GTI motor, it's got probably 100 horsepower versus 68 horsepower. That's a
interesting.
Lot. Or maybe 70 something horsepower. But I don't know. What do you think? Should we put it in there? I think it'd be cool for it to go somewhere good.
I thought you were going to say, so we're going to build another car around this motor. That's
no. I think we should pull the 1.6 out and put Grandpa's JH in there. And
what is that JH, a 1.8?
It's a 1.8. Yeah, solid lifter 1.8, like 98 horsepower, whatever they are.
That'd be a nice build for it.
Plus close ratio gearbox, which is it's got a tall box in it right now, so it would be more power. Dude, it would be fun. It would make it really fun.
Yeah, that might be good.
That's not going to happen before it goes to Mitchell, but maybe when it gets back, we could do that.
Yeah. Speaking of Mitchell, when do we get to fight over like the details of color and?
Oh no, it's already been decided.
Really?
It's staying the same color.
It's the factory color.
Okay.
Then we don't have to do door jams and
makes
trunk
a lot of sense,
and all this other stuff and it's under the hood. Plus, it's like metallic blue, which is really a rare color that looks really good with the brown interior, I think.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll just.
I know.
Jeff wants to spend money, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I care about.
What was your color? What did you want to see?
I mean, this is like a whole another episode. So I think I should probably not kick off a new can of, open a new can of worms. But I think Scirocco's, I think, had a lot of great colors.
They definitely did.
Volkswagen had a lot of great colors. And so, if we're not going to do door jams, those kind of things, then it does make a ton of sense to keep it stock. I love some of the Volkswagen colors. So my brain has been kind of like spinning on the potentials,
the bright oranges.
I also will just say Mitchell, the body work he does and the things that he's shared in the Discord, he is
incredible.
So talented that I'm excited to what he can do. And I'm not saying that the Scirocco's OEM color is ugly. It's not. But let's be honest, there's more exciting colors in the catalog. So that's my 2 cents.
Here's I wonder if Jeff has ever even seen this thing.
Oh, you're talking about your car.
Yeah,
this yellow Scirocco.
This was my chrome yellow.
Yes.
That is an amazing color.
Which is 911 signal yellow, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's a great example of what I'm talking about. And as everyone knows, my 911 is not an OEM color. I have no problem bastardizing cars and the colors and doing different things. But
what about Jersey? What color was Jersey? That's another great
Manila green.
Manila is awesome.
Manila green is really good. Really good.
I'm just, for once, you guys are the ones trying to spend money on things. This is kind of funny.
Well, I do think that being somewhat thrifty is wise.
If we put that motor in it, can we do some type of like side drafts or ITBs or like?
You can put side drafts off the back of the engine, yes.
Okay, I would like that.
Why?
I don't like CIS.
It works.
Nope, don't like it.
Okay. I mean,
I like whatever's the most reliable.
Yeah, the CIS that's in there works great, and we changed out the electronic ignition and everything. It's
Jake, because we have to think, Jake, if this is a scholarship winner, this might be somebody who
can
maybe they haven't had a chance to own a car
on
like
the side of the road.
Yes. Maybe they're not, so
It's all part of the experience we're giving them, Jeff.
Screwing them over.
we should open up the scholarship application process pretty soon.
We should do that. That is a very good
If anybody has any ideas of someone that would deserve an all expenses paid trip to come out and drive this Scirocco on the rally that's in, then give me hit us up. We'll listen.
Was that going to be like a tease of where it's going to be?
Did I cut out?
One of the most fun things
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. That's odd.
Is everyone starts, trying to pull out the location details and all of that. And I don't know if you guys chatted. We have a much more pressing event upcoming before that.
We do.
Yeah. I'll be scouting everybody will know where the rally is by mid-June. By mid-June, everybody will know. I'll be scouting and driving around in this place, and everybody will know. But yeah, we got Sports Car Vacation Land Camp Overcrest coming up.
Good time. Day pass next month.
I'm cutting everybody off. This podcast is over. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Don't sleep on Day Pass in Oregon. We've had a bunch of people recently register, and
it's gonna be really cool.
We hung out with Steve with Pele a ton this last weekend, and he is bringing a lot of surprises and magic to the weekend. Yeah. So if you are in the Portland, Seattle area, come out for Day Pass.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for us. We will see you guys next week.
Take care.